Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Sebastian Sanders. And guys, today you are tuning in to the Entrepreneur Planning Conference for the year 2020. What a year 2020 has been. Through the whole pandemic, the whole coronavirus, God is still opening doors. And you are special because today you are investing in self. By attending this conference, you're hearing from some amazing speakers in some amazing different fields, and you're learning the games of being a true entrepreneur. Before I get into it, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Sebastian Sanders, originally from Houston, Texas, born and raised, graduate from the University of Texas at San Antonio with my bachelor's in business management. I currently reside here in Oklahoma City as a district manager with PepsiCo. But that's my professional career. On the flip side, I'm a serial entrepreneur, author, and a speaker. I've been doing this since I would say 2017. And I give you kind of a backstory of, how I got into everything. So entrepreneurship has been a big aspect in my life. Seeing my father as an entrepreneur, seeing my mother as an entrepreneur. I picked up on business things since I was a kid. One thing my granny used to say is I never played with toys. I never liked toys as a kid. I never liked Spider-Man, never liked none of the usual stuff a kid would like. All I wanted to do was go to the dollar store and get fake money and a fake cell phone and walk around the house and play with it. So I guess I was attached to money at a young age. I would say around 11 or 12, around the LimeWire area, I was starting to burn CDs. So I was going on internet, figuring out all the new albums that are coming out. I get the track list, go to LimeWire, and flip everything over to a burnt CD, and I just sell it to the family and friends. Made some good money, made some good ice cream money, from the ice cream truck and things like that. Got into high school, started to get into t-shirts a little bit, tried to sell candy. So every aspect of my life, I was always trying to sell something, be a businessman. And about 2017, I was a sophomore at UTSA at the time, and I wanted to be a rapper. Before I even thought about being a speaker, doing the things that I'm doing now, I wanted to be a rapper. I kid you not. I had the studio equipment, I had everything lined up. My first single, I never released it. It was called Slaves, right? I used to record this song every night. I thought the song would be a hit, but unfortunately, something just told me not to release it. I felt like it wasn't for me. I kid you not, 3 weeks later, after I just disbanded the whole rap thing, God came to me and said, I want you to teach how to give, right? And so I'm 20 at the time. So I just wanted to do a donation drive. I didn't even want to do a nonprofit organization, nor did I even know exactly what a nonprofit was. So I was like, you know what? This summer, I'm gonna go back to my neighborhood. I'm gonna give out some backpacks and just give back to my local community. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. I quickly called my dad. My dad is my right-hand man. He taught me everything that I know. Before I do anything in life, I always call him. And I said, hey, Dad, I got this idea. I want to do this donation drive. And he was like, sounds like a good idea, son, but I feel like you could do more. And so my dad, he's always been the type of person to push me for more. He's always pushed me to be better than what I was. And so I was like, what can I do that's more? Mind you, I'm still 20 at the time. This is still fresh. And so I was like, you know what? I think I can do an organization. So I remember that night. It was a Wednesday night. I left my statistics class. And I'll tell you right now, I hated that class. That class was so useless back in college. But I went home, was chilling with my bros that night. I think we was either watching a video on YouTube, we was playing 2K. We was doing something. We was chilling, and I was like, Sanders hand. Sanders is my last name, and hand is sort of an imagery of us lending a helping hand to our community. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Sanders hand. From that day, my whole life changed. Sanders hand was created, it was founded, and from that day, we just took off and ran with it. And that's how that was created. And that's how I dipped into the entrepreneur stuff that led me to be the man that I am today. And so today, I want to be able to share with you that tool of giving. I want to talk to you about the significance of being in charity and how to give back to your community. But most importantly, how does entrepreneurship go hand in hand with philanthropy? Before we get into that, let's define it. What is charity? A lot of us look at charity as like the single stuff that you do in your neighborhood, giving out stuff, doing this, scholarships, volunteering, things like that. Those things are true. But charity and philanthropy is just like any other business. The biggest thing with this is you're producing something for the greater good of your community. You're providing a product, you're providing a service that is changing people's lives for the better. And a lot of us, we often never knew how to define charity or philanthropy because we only seen it in one form or fashion. Nowadays, you have everybody giving back in some type of way, whether that's an entrepreneur, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a musician. In somebody's life, they're giving back. And today, if you don't know how to give back, I want you to leave this conference with the thought process of how do I effectively give back? And you may think as an entrepreneur, I don't have to give back. I sell so much stuff, I may donate some money at a time. I don't really just necessarily have to give back because I already do so much. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. Being an entrepreneur in your local community is way bigger than you just selling something because you are idolized. You have people that look up to you. You are influencing a whole generation. So I wanna ask you this. How do you effectively incorporate charity into your business? I'm gonna give you the game right now. When you take care of your community will always take care of you. As an entrepreneur, we know that we're supposed to, calculate our funds, calculate our taxes, everything like that. You should break down your financials, right? 20% of your income as an entrepreneur from your business should be given back to your community, whether that's to your church. And I would say this, 10% should automatically be given back to your church. But the other 10% should be given back to your community, whether that's a scholarship, whether that's a trust fund, whether that's a holiday drive. You should incorporate the 20% rule into your fact of being an entrepreneur. Why? Because I said earlier, your community will always take care of you. As an entrepreneur, you have to figure out ways to multiply your efforts or multiply exactly what you're trying to put out into the world. You can't be selfish with the game. You can't be an entrepreneur that's just 100% for self. Because at the end of the day, when you leave this earth and when your business runs out, that's everybody's only gonna know you for is your business. You have to figure out ways to multiply that effort and to diversify it. It's like having stocks to an extent. If you're into stock trading, you have a pretty diverse bunch of stocks. It's kind of like having an S&P 500. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship. How can I build my own S&P 500 by being a philanthropist? How? Scholarships. Scholarships is one of my favorite things to do. And that doesn't have to be an academic scholarship. When I was in college, we were talking about a scholarship one day, and I didn't know that they had a scholarship for convicted felons when you get home. If you want to either get a GED, get a job, there was a scholarship out there for you to kind of get yourself back into it. And so I'm like, wow, they have a scholarship for that. So you can create any type of scholarship. Let's say you're a musician, right? And you're a big rapper, artist, producer, singer, writer, whatever. You want to create a scholarship for young influencers in that same field. You can provide them $1,000 of equipment. That's a scholarship. Look I'm telling you right here, anything that you can do to help the next generation is definitely going to push our culture way farther than what it already is. So when you're building out your plan to be an entrepreneur, incorporate that 20% rule. And then not only just give money, it's not always about the monetary give. Be local, be present in your community. Figure out things that you can do on a Saturday if you're bored. If you have nothing else to do on a Saturday morning, go out and volunteer. Go out and network. Be a face that people can attach to a name. You always want to be present. I remember growing up in A-Leaf, we had this, my Holland Middle School was right next to like Shipley's. So everybody used to go hang out at the local Shipley's and things like that, right? And so you had a lot of different businesses on that same strip. So come to find out, the guy that owned the strip used to donate back to Harlem, like I want to say every year. So nobody ever knew that. Nobody could ever attach a name to the face. But I was talking to my coach one day and he was saying, well, you guys got this equipment because such and such next door did that. And so when you start to think about it like that, come to find out years later, the city was looking to take away the whole strip. A-Leaf went out and not necessarily A-Leaf, but a lot of the people who were elders in the community, they were able to stick up for this guy and help him keep his project because he did so much for the community. Let's just say you're an entrepreneur, you're making a whole bunch of money at a storefront, and let's just say the city says, I'm gonna buy out this front, we're gonna buy out your property. You're gonna lose it, essentially, right? What are you gonna do? You gotta take it to the streets. You gotta take it to your community and figure out ways to have your people support you. And as an entrepreneur, if they can't attach a name to their face, nobody's gonna stand in court for you and support you. Nobody's gonna be there because you wasn't there for them. Like I said, it's bigger than you. So the 20% rule and getting out, being local and being present, right? Now you may ask yourself, okay, I already give now. All right, I'm already local and present. How can I do more for my community to support me? Do more, simple. Just because you're doing that, maybe doing the bare minimum, do more. There's always so much things you can do as an entrepreneur. And so we wanna get into this. How do you plan? How do you plan this, right? We talked about the 20% rule and we talked about that. How do we plan it, right? It sounds easy. It sounds like it's something that we can do on a daily basis, but you should plan this annually. Your giving should be done at the beginning of the year. And then at the end of that year, you should calculate your giving. You should figure out, okay, how much time did we donate over here? How much time did we donate here? How much money did we donate here? You should always do it on an annual basis. That way, this goes into your annual report as an entrepreneur. And you can report this out, whether you're a local entrepreneur and you're employing people or you're just doing it for yourself. You should figure out ways to, calculate this because this is going to go into your effective planning of being an entrepreneur, right? So then we get into this. How does a nonprofit work? A lot of people ask me this question. How does a nonprofit work? I'm an entrepreneur, but I feel like I give back, but I also want to start a nonprofit organization. I'm gonna tell you just like this. A nonprofit is ran just like any other business. Now, you may hear the words nonprofit, and as an entrepreneur, that's something you may run away from, but in reality, that's an entrepreneur. You're a social entrepreneur. And I would tell you this, I've encountered a lot of different entrepreneurs in my networking and me just being around so many different people. All of us are social entrepreneurs, whether we know it or not. A lot of us don't really know how to define it. And as we talked about earlier, it's producing a product or a service that's greater good for the community or for the people. So how does a nonprofit essentially work? I tell you like this, The Art of Giving. One nonprofit can change the world. I wrote this book last year. It was released this year on April 3rd of 2020, and it turned into a bestseller, and I'll get into more of that later. But The Art of Giving. What does giving mean to you? I want you to ask yourself that. What does giving mean to you? As we talked about earlier, we're going to talk a lot about giving and philanthropy, but ask yourself right there and there, what does giving mean to you? Giving was always a part of my life. And I give you a backstory on how giving just became so important to me. Growing up, I always see my parents, they were the ones who just took care of everything, right? Throughout the whole family. They were the ones who just did the big parties, always did the fun things, and I always just looked off of others. So I just kind of adopted that. I guess it was in my genetics. But I would tell you this, when I was about 11, 12 years old, maybe even 13. So every year I was getting presents, man. I love Christmas presents under the tree. So as I got a little older, starting to mature a little bit, my parents like, you know what? We're not just gonna give you a whole bunch of presents. We're gonna give you money. We're gonna give you money this year, right? And so I'm so excited, I'm getting my money. Now it's like, okay, I go to the mall, I get the new J's. I think it was the cool grades at one point that had came out that I was about to get. But anyway, so, every year I got this money. And so before I could spend any of the money, my dad would literally, here you go, son, Merry Christmas, mom, Merry Christmas, son, here you go. Before I could even touch my money, I had to go to the store and give my mom a gift, my grandmother a gift, my brother, my aunt, everybody in my immediate family that I interacted with, I had to get them a gift. And my dad, he was so hard on this. He said, you're not touching anything until you buy everybody a gift. And so you're like 11, 12 years old. You're like, man, I want to go get the new J's. I want to get a PSP. I want to get a 360. Like, I don't want to go buy people's gifts. I don't really understand it at this age. But as I started to get older, I started to realize, life is always bigger than self. Especially being an entrepreneur, as we talked about earlier. It's bigger than you. Because to be frankly, there's going to be somebody that's going to come along that's going to be bigger and better than you. So you can't have that mentality that it's all about me. You got to have this mentality, how can I endorse and sponsor others? So anyways, back to the story. So, as I got older, I started to really just love buying gifts. Now, I'm 23 years old. I don't necessarily have Christmas gifts under the tree. I find joy in just buying my family's gifts and seeing a smile on my people's face. So giving, was something that was kind of, I would say, endorsed into me since I was a young person. And so as I got older, I started to understand giving more. And this is where I stepped into my entrepreneurship lane. I started to figure out the biggest part of me being a successful entrepreneur is not how much money I can make. I can make $10,000 tomorrow and I still won't be happy. But if I can make $10,000 and I can turn that $10,000 into something that I can produce for my community that can turn a 10 to 100, 100 to a million, something like that, that's bigger than me. And that's when I learned, how effectively can I be an entrepreneur? And that's when the nonprofit was just birthed into me. Like I said, I was all about the money. I didn't really care about nonprofits because I didn't know until I realized I'm doing God's work and I'm doing God's plan. So what is a nonprofit organization? How do I build a nonprofit organization? I'm gonna tell you this, every entrepreneur in the world should have a nonprofit organization. Whether you necessarily don't have to create your own. You can sponsor another, but I feel like in some point of your life of being an entrepreneur, nonprofit has to be a huge part. Because like I said, it's not about you. It's about those people. Somebody in the world needs you. You have a gift. They need you, we need you, she needs you, your mom needs you. Somebody in this world needs you. There's a you in the world that needs you. But it's up to you to turn that mindset and turn it into a reality and step outside your shell and realize that I can sell this product and make a lot of money. But how can I bring up the next entrepreneur that's in that classroom, that's in that local neighborhood, who needs me, who needs my help? Right? So let's get straight into it. How does a nonprofit work? I won't give you all the game here today, right? I'm gonna give you a little bit of the game, but I'll tell you what. Since you're watching this video, and at the end you may have my social media contacts, send me an email, send me a message. I'm going to get you a free copy of The Art of Giving, One Nonprofit Can Change the World. Whether that's an ebook copy or I can get you a physical signed copy, up to you. But since you're watching this video today and you want to be the best entrepreneur that you can be, I think it's time for you to read The Art of Giving, One Nonprofit Can Change the World. Why? Because your idea can necessarily change the world, or you can birth another idea that can change the world. Nonprofits, right? What is it? Nonprofits. I was asking myself this when I first started, because I was like, man, why am I into this field? Why am I doing this? Why am I seeking a nonprofit? And then I started to slowly realize we are preparing the next generation of leaders for success, one student at a time with this nonprofit. Sanders Hand is a 501c3 charity. This was founded in April 2017 with 2 active programs, education and community, that are both dedicated towards empowerment, innovation, and diversity. We are servicing roughly 3,000 youth from Texas to Oklahoma with academic and leadership skills that goes untaught inside of the classroom. With our programs and our enhancements, we are increasing the minority income level while decreasing the minority poverty level. A few things that we teach with our kids is financial literacy, entrepreneurship, interview resume skills, communication skills, leadership skills, professional etiquette skills, cultivating that through the community through partnerships, volunteering, and donating, with annual scholarships every year for middle school and high school students. I wouldn't be able to do any of the things that I do today within my organization. I wouldn't be here speaking with you if I didn't step into the entrepreneurship world with the mindset of diversifying. Now, when we first started, we had a board of maybe 5 to 6 people. As over time, we were young people. We were just getting into our careers over time. That kind of, dwindled down. But as you sit back and look at it, I'm excited and it's honored to see all of the people that started with me day one, to see them blossom into what they are today. And that's what it's about becoming an entrepreneur. You are really planting seeds in everyone around you. And one of the things that we talked about earlier, I don't want you to always think of philanthropy as just a money thing. It's just a check. Let me just go write a check. Boom, I did my job. I'm going to tell you right now, there's millions of people who write checks every day for a community, and that's it. Yeah, it does good in the community, yeah. But it's more. It's more to it than just writing a check and then say, hey, here, I'm going to just cut my tax off at the end of the year. It's more to it. If we had that mentality, man, you wouldn't see these programs inside these classrooms. You wouldn't see kids stepping out on outside their comfort zone and being who they are. If it wasn't for people like you, people like me, people like them, people like her, being the change that you want to see in your local community, right? So guys, as we start to, dwindle down the topic and kind of get to the closing, remarks of this video, I want you to effectively think about 3 things that I talked about earlier. When I first started the Sanders Hand, I built it off the core principles of empowerment, innovation, and diversity. Those are the same 3 principles that you need to use in your entrepreneurship life. I call myself Mr. Money to Change. I gave myself that title, or I would say, my fans gave me that title, Mr. Money to Change. When you hear that, you're like, what is he talking about? Is he talking about money? No, I'm talking about getting the money, getting to the bread, getting to the money, and creating that and transferring that to change in your community. And that's what I'm about. But it stands on 3 principles as an entrepreneur. Empowerment. How can I empower the people around me? How can I make person A and person B's life way better than what it was when I first met them? How can I lift up my people? Being an entrepreneur and myself being an African-American entrepreneur, my biggest thing is how can I reach back and pull up? How can I reach back and go and get my younger brothers and younger sisters and bring them up with me? I don't want to just take this game and go to the next level. How can I bring them up? It's all about empowerment as an entrepreneur. That's number 1. Number 2, innovation. As an entrepreneur in the philanthropy world, I have to find ways to stay creative and stay ahead of the curve. Because you know why? Yeah, I'm up here, but there's somebody right back behind me who's coming along. How can I stay innovative? How can I just keep creating something for the greater good of my people? As you know, the world evolves every day. Technology evolves every day. How can I be better than what I was yesterday? And the last one, diversity. How can I create change? How can I create change in my community? How can I use my diverse skills and become something or create something that we didn't have yesterday? How can I use the different races, the different cultures, the different genders, and bring that together and create something powerful? Empowerment, innovation, and diversity. And the last thing I want to say, don't look for change, be the change. As an entrepreneur, you can't get mad at such and such for creating something, or you can't ride around in your car every day saying, you know what, I wish somebody would have bought that house and turned that into a fund for mothers, for single mothers. I wish somebody would have cleaned that up. I wish somebody would have created a product for my people. Stop saying you wish and go do it. As an entrepreneur, stop that. As an entrepreneur, you can't have that mindset of, oh, I wish. For what? God gave you a power. You have to use it. It's in you. It's within you right here in your heart. So don't be that person. Don't look for change. Be the change. Stand on it. Once you leave this conference today, go out in the world and create change. Don't get on Instagram and go and like somebody's picture. Don't go and DM somebody. Stop doing the nonsense. Go get to it. You don't have the luxury of staying young forever. And I'm not saying you're too old to something or too young to do something. Trust me, there's people moving and shaking every day. But you got to get out there and get it as an entrepreneur. It's not going to come to you. People like to say, you know, well, what's for you is going to come to you. And I stand on it. I firmly believe that. What's for me is going to come. I truly believe that. But at the same time, God is not going to give you something that you're not willing to work for yourself. Right? Come on, guys. You know what it is, man. It's the Entrepreneurship Planning Conference. This is the biggest conference of the year. You're at home. You're on quarantine, potentially on lockdown. You should be watching this conference and you should be taking notes. And tomorrow, I should see you getting out into the community and doing something for self. Our kids need you. The people need you. I need you. Your mom and daddy need you. Stand on it. You guys know what it is. Don't look for change. Be the change. It's your boy, Sebastian J. Sanders. Guys, get with me on Instagram at Sebastian J. Sanders. I'm on Twitter at Sebastian James, my middle name with 2 E's. My Twitter, I like to have fun. I like to get in conversation, so get at me. I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. I'm a big Tupac and Death Row Records fan. I'm a G-Unit fan, so if you want to argue about any type of classic music, get at me because I love to argue. Get with me on LinkedIn. That's Sebastian Sanders. Every entrepreneur should be on LinkedIn. I shouldn't see you on Instagram worried about followers if you're not on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where it's at for young entrepreneurs and young professionals. So you should get to LinkedIn. Get at us on YouTube. Check out all of my content videos. And you see the hoodie, Money Mondays. Guys, tap in with it. Every Monday, I'm dropping gems. So if you want more of this game of giving and philanthropy, tap in with me on Money Mondays. And as always, I told you, I didn't lie to you. Get with me. I have your copy of this book. This book will change your life. I don't care what book you read in 2020. You need to read this going into 2021. Every entrepreneur should learn the art of giving. I'm not going to define it for you today because it's right here in the book. It's the first page you open up. Let's get to it. The Art of Giving. It's right here. The best-selling novel in the world. Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. It's your boy Sebastian J. Sanders. Big shout out to my guy Deshaun, man. I love the work that you're doing. Thank you guys so much. And as we talked about, don't look for change, be the change. It's your boy. I'm out of here.